What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Business of Strength podcast. I'll be your host today, Dan Goodman, and I've got a quick question and answer podcast. I figured this was the right time. I've been getting hit up a lot with year ends and emails in the SYP mastermind, and some really good questions that are being answered via email, the Facebook group, and I figured that had come on here and answer some of the most pertinent questions from listeners of the show and people in the group. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of today, I have to remind you, our next live event is January 23rd. We have Trainer School right here in our backyard in Orangeburg, New York. We have an amazing lineup. Coach Scott Leach, Mike Atkinson, Joe Knie, Joe Riggio, Adam Menner, myself. We're going to be doing an intensive one-day experience. There's going to be workshops. There's going to be training. There's going to be building brand. There's going to be talking about creating a model, even if you're a trainer in another gym as a 1099 coach, on how to create a reproducible model so that you can sustain in this coaching industry. That could be such a great one if you can figure out the ways to sustain and thrive in it. So that's January 23rd. It's only $199 and it's a Friday. It's one day. There's no freaking excuses. Shooting this episode on December 3rd. Our last event of the year, which is sold out, is Executive Day. That's in a couple days here. And we are kicking off the new year, January 23rd, with Trainer School. All of our sponsors of the show and the Business of Strength will be there to make sure the experience is awesome, great networking. We'll have Ignite Entrepreneurs, Maddie Simmons and Simmons Media crew. The Anomaly crew will be here. And obviously the Turnkey Coach crew will be out in full effect. So can't wait to see so many of you January 23rd. Today's episode, I'm going to start with, I got a bunch of questions listed here, so I'll see how many I can get through. I want to make sure that we get to at least 3 or 4 questions. So the first question is from somebody. They asked the very first question to the chat bot thing in Instagram, so I'm going to answer that one first. It's from Rise Basketball in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Really looks like an awesome place. I would say the name, but the name's not listed. So Rise Basketball, this one's for you. So they ask specifically, they want to know the numbers. I'm going to read it verbatim, actually. So I got to go to Instagram here. Bear with me. So Rise Basketball School asks, what are the monthly total expenses across all gyms? Profit margin percentage, give us the real insight at the numbers. That's a great question. And, I've talked about this before, and at Weight Room Wealth, we dove into this really deeply. And I'm going to give the overview here. And Rise Basketball Academy, if you want to schedule a call to go into more specifics about what you got going on, I'd be happy to do that. You could shoot me an email, dan@varsityoutgym.com, or maybe this will help you. So I'm going to make sure this is a broad stroke for all the listeners. So we stick to a budget. Now we have 2 different kind of facilities here. So there's the big, massive facility that takes a tremendous amount of fuel. It's like a cruise ship changing an operation here. We've got a lot of employees. We've got big time HVAC costs, merch fees, cleaning supplies, all of it. But here is a standard fixed budget that we look for. So profitability in a big facility, and I would assume that you have a big facility as well with basketball courts and things like that. Your overhead in terms of coaches might not be as much, but I'm just going to give you a broad stroke overview of the goal budget for a year. And obviously, if you can exceed it, that's great. But in those big box facilities, and I'm going to categorize this one that I'm in, Orangeburg, as big box, if you hit a 20% margin profitability for the year, that's usually a really strong profitability. Typically, in a big spot like this, your fixed overhead is going to be 30%. Your payroll oftentimes is going to hang around 35, and in some cases even 40%, because the more space you have, the more that you want to be doing in the space. Well, in this service business, that requires dollars. And lastly is is variable expense. So variable expense is 15%. Now, if we're taking it for like $100,000, let's take 100 grand as a sum. So if you make for every 100,000 you make, you're going to keep 20,000. Your fixed expenses, this is things like insurance, merchant fees, your rent, HVAC, things that you really can't avoid, taxes, all those types of things is, or sales tax would be um, 30%. So that's $30,000. Payroll for every 100K, you're looking at about $35,000 as a salary cap. And your variable expense, this is things like we have mints in the bathrooms. We have variable expenses is technically marketing, even though in my head it should be fixed. It's marketing. It's things like travel, meals, entertainment, continued education. That's 50. It also could be technologies, right? What kind of technologies do you use to speed up the business? Are they absolutely necessary? If they're not absolutely necessary, it's a variable expense. So that's going to be 15,000 for every 100 grand that you make. So, the broad stroke in the big facility, Rise Basketball is 20% profitability, 30% fixed, 35% salary cap payroll, 15% variable expense. Now, obviously, if you have a great rent or lease deal or you own your building, obviously fixed is going to be lower. Profitability might be higher. You might be an owner operator that is not present in the business. So that in that case, payroll might need to float closer to 45%. But obviously, there's only 100% to give. In the smaller facilities where the fixed overhead is much lower, uh, obviously price per square foot might be higher because it's retail space, but obviously the footprint is smaller. Therefore, energy, supplies, there's less staff. The bills are lower. Okay. So for there, the goal margin is 30% profitability. It's 20% to fixed overhead. It's 35% payroll and 15% variable expense. Again, you can adjust up or down. And I'm just going to go out and tell you, like, these are goal budgets. Are they always hit? No. Are they sometimes exceeded? Yes. But the goal when we finish a year is to be as close to the target as possible, right? As close to the target as possible. So I hope that answers your question specifically. For us, right now there's 3 different buildings. There's things that arise that make variable expenses go crazy. It could be servicing an AC unit, it could be plumbing. Right now, there's a situation with phone lines. So obviously there's always things that happen, but this is the gold standard for us that we try and follow the best of our ability. All right. Going on, next question. We have my guy Eric. Eric Pullman's going to be here this Friday. Eric runs Breakthrough Performance in Long Island. And he asked a question about running a promotion for his members. So he's got a great gym. He is hitting the ceiling in terms of capacity, which is a great problem to have. If you don't follow Pullman on social, you should. He is like gym kid wonder, like 20. I don't even know if he's 26 yet. He's been a member of the mastermind for years, and he's just blowing the doors off, doing an exceptional job running a great business. But he asked, we were going back and forth on it this week. He wants to run a promotion for athletes to be able to bring parents for a month free. But he's saying, hey, look, I've got a capacity issue in the morning. I've got capacity issues on Sundays. And we talked about rearranging his facility, and he's adding 2 workstations. So just imagine, he's a small group personal training. He's adding 2 pods, like 2 racks with all the attachments. So he's going to be able to fit more people. And he said, I really want to do it as a gift in December, but everything's not going to be ready. What should I do? And he's hung up on it. And we just said, just do it in January, right? Like, don't worry about it. Just do it in January. And he's like, yeah, but should I limit them from times? And this was my answer. No, you shouldn't limit that from times. You want to give them the absolute best experience and give them your best stuff. Put your best foot forward. And it always happens here at Varsity House. Like, we'll run a challenge or athlete open enrollment, and we're like, holy shit, it's oversold. Like, we're going to have too many spots. So this is what we do. We will staff out 1 additional coach or a facility leader or myself or Joe or Adam will cruise to the floor, Mike, and be an extra set of hands for the first couple days. And then usually the confusion and pain of growth subsides. The first day of the 6 week challenge is always a pain in the ass. And then the growing pain of it usually subsides. So my answer to Eric was give him your best stuff, put your best foot forward. Who cares if it's not December? Do the freaking give the gift in January and open up the full schedule. And for the first week, overstaff each session so you're putting your absolute best foot forward. And I think it's a prime example of, creating potential issues where they don't exist. And sometimes when the going is really good, we try to search for, things that could go awry. And let's make sure that they go awry first. And that might be weird advice, but it's like, hey, don't create the issue until there actually is one, right? So Pullman, don't create the issue until there actually is one. You're kicking ass. Keep moving forward. All right, the next question is from PJ. He gave two good ones. I'm going to read them right from the Instagram. So PJ up in Boston, he asked a question. He said, I know over the last few years, I've been training younger trainers who struggle with sales. And a big part of it is that they aren't confident about their product. And just honestly, they aren't that great yet at training. So they feel weird asking for a premium price. So the question is, what can I do to help them be more comfortable selling expensive training? So I like this question because I think everybody has a level of imposter syndrome, including myself, right? Like depending on the scenario, everybody has a level of imposter syndrome. But I think it's important to remember, like the end users that most of us are working with. And I can't remember who said this. It might have been Dan John, or let's just go with Dan John on this one. And in terms of being a mentor or a coach, you could look at it. It's like, let's just take myself, for example. I'm 9 years older than my brother. And obviously, I was in it. I was in the weight room. I was playing college football, but I was his first strength coach. And I started training him when he was like 8 or 9 years old. And was I certified yet? No. But did I have way more experience than him? Yes. Did I take it seriously? Yes. Did I have a vested interest in him and want him to get better? Absolutely. So I was just a little bit further down the road than he was, which made me an authoritative figure. And PJ, to a lot of the people that you're going to be bringing along, like I'm going to assume that they are not 18 years old. I'm going to assume that they have had some level of certification. I'm going to assume that they've gone through some level of on-the-job training. And for us, we're in the midst of it right now, an internship process and an on-the-job training experience with one of our new trainers, Lynn, who's doing a fantastic job. We have a 90-day roadmap for their success in our business where they are going to get sales training. They are going to get practical application on the floor. They are going to get a weekly in-service on how to be a better coach. They're going to have shadowed over 200 hours on the floor. And this is somebody with experience. Like, I don't care if we're hiring somebody with 5 years experience, 8 years experience. Every single person goes through the 90-day on the job training. Some of them get through it quicker than others, but you have to do every step of the onboard. So PJ, the first thing I would look at as a leader of that spaceship is, what am I doing to train up and lead my people to success? Because if you can get through, let's call it that training camp experience, and you graduate through it, you as the leader can build confidence in them where it's like, PJ, let's say you're here working at Varsity House and you go through 90 days. There's going to be moments throughout that 90 days where I'm going to be able to champion the things that you're doing well. And I'm going to be able to highlight the things that you need to do better at. But once you're complete, you get the handshake and you get the nod that, hey, you're ready to go. Obviously, this doesn't end your education, but you're ready to go. You're ready to be out on the floor and you're ready to help the average, mom and dad or 14-year-old athlete that walks through these doors. And you should have confidence that in 90 days, you could take somebody that's real interested in becoming a better trainer and give them that opportunity. The 1B to that is in terms of the sales process, can you centralize the sales process to one person in your building? Where I look at our buildings, our three gyms, the facility leaders in conjunction with our appointment center, they're responsible for taking lead to consult and then selling that person when they come to the building. Do full-time coaches have the ability to do consults? Yes. Do full-time coaches instigate success with the referrals and reactivations? Absolutely. I'm talking about somebody cold off the street, never been here before. That's the responsibility of the facility leader to nurture that sales experience and get them in the door. We're really focused on our coaches delivering that high-end experience on the floor, and we are totally committed to the development of our staff each and every week. We talked about this, and PJ, I know you were here at the Underground. I heard Mike Boyle say this in 2020, and I really should send this to Mike, this clip. So Mike, Coach Boyle, if you ever listen to this, this one's for you. So he talks about, like, somebody asked him, what's one thing that you did that really predicated your future success? And he stops immediately, said, oh, that's easy. Staff development, staff training. He's like, we do it every week, never miss, regardless, wherever I'm at, it happens every single week. And I look at the coaching tree that's both involved on a business level at MSBC and also people that have gone on and done it on their own. There's something in the water there. And the something in the water is the continuous education. And that builds buy-in, that builds confidence, even maybe where there shouldn't be the confidence. So, PJ, the one thing I would suggest to you, or a couple of suggestions, is staff training for the first 90 days so they feel confident. Number two is there has to be some evergreen education that happens at least a couple times a month for your coaches to continue to get better. And number three is, can you centralize the sales process to allow them just to focus on the coaching product? All right. That's what I got for you, PJ. PJ asked another question, but PJ, I'm going to send you that one off to the side. That one, I don't know if it's pertinent to the listeners on this episode. The next question I have is from Chris Collins. Chris just opened a gym in Westchester, awesome gym, training grounds, personal training in Westchester. And Chris asks, oh, this was a good one. All right. He says, what's a really good approach for planning a big quarter one and a big quarter two so that you can set up the rest of the year for success? Also, how far ahead do you say some of the more seasoned people plan? Okay. So seasoned gyms. I read that wrong. Sorry about that. So it starts with, and we're going to do this for the group on December 17th, the year-end planning, and a lot of it is marketing. So it's going to happen December 17th, and we're going to do it again the first Wednesday of January to make sure everybody has a solid plan of attack for their marketing. So, Chris, I mean, it starts like this. And I know you're a good trainer. If I came to you and I said, hey, I want to bench 400, squat 600, and be, under 15% body fat, you'd say, oh, well, those are some lofty goals. When are you planning on doing that? I say, hey, I got a year to do it. Okay, well, we start working backwards. So the first thing I'll tell you as a gym owner of a new spot is, how many members do you want? How many members do you need? From there, it's, okay, Chris, let's look at our numbers. How many members do you lose per month? Okay, so let's just say, for easy math of this conversation, Chris has 50 clients right now, and he wants to get to 75. All right, so that's a net gain of 25. So he's going to need to net gain 2 per month. Let's say Chris is losing 1 client a month, which would be excellent. That means that Chris is going to need to add 3 people per month on average in order to net gain 25 on the year. All right. If my math, top of the brain math, serves me correctly, that's easy math. So, all right, well, then to get 3 clients, which is pretty much almost, 1 a week, how many leads are we going to need? and we start to build our scorecard metrics because it's all math, right? It's like lifting. It's all tonnage, sets, reps, percentages, pre-appliance chart. Like that's what it is. And we're going to know, all right, do we have enough time? Do we have, there's other factors, recovery, things like that, not getting hurt. But in a perfect world, if we follow this, method, our percentage is going to work to get us to this point. Our macro is going to fit in to get us to this point, right? It's the same thing with a training business. So most specifically to marketing, is anything above zero compounds. We learned that from Sahil Bloom, who was here to do an in-service at Varsity House. Anything with your marketing, Chris, is better than nothing. Now, what do I mean by that? There's three factors to a marketing plan. So if we take January through June, each month has to have a primary aim or objective. What's the goal of this month? What's the theme of this month? All right. And we're going to talk about it in social. We're going to talk about it in our emails. We're going to talk about it in our ads. What's the theme? What's the goal? All right. The next thing is, what are we doing externally to drive awareness to our facility? Ads, billboards, posters, flyers in town, organic social media for 30 days in a row. Like, what are we doing to drive external awareness to continue to build our list? Number two, what are we doing to ascend people up the service ladder that are already doing business with us? Can you do a challenge? Can you do a total reset? Can you do a new year, new you? Can you run a training camp for athletes? Like, again, I'm giving this answer to the broad masses here, Chris, but you get the point. All right, what can we do to ascend people? I mean, the easiest thing is, how do we get people that are doing 2 days a week to try 3? What are we doing to incentivize them to do that? How are we getting feedback from them to know what they want more or less of from us? And lastly, what are we doing to instigate referrals? And if I have that each and every month, it's like, okay, like if I'm looking at a marketing calendar, let's just take January, for instance. We're running a total reset for our adults. It's a challenge with a different bow. It's a 4-week challenge with a cash prize, with a meal plan, an accountability coach, and they get an extra day of training. So that's hitting a lot of factors there. That's an internal opportunity. That's what's driving our external messaging on social. That's what's driving our ad spend on social. It's a great referral opportunity. So what are we doing in December? We're having a client Christmas party, holiday party. Everybody brings spouses. It's a great opportunity to tee up referrals for the total reset. So there you go. January's done. Another thing you could do for referrals, run buddy weeks, run referral days, run charity workouts. Okay. You could run a joint venture for external awareness. You could go table at events for external awareness. The thing is with an owner operator like yourself is just making sure that you have anchors for each month. So like January, okay, in January, I'm going to post on social media about this campaign and I'm going to do it 7 days a week. Okay, the offer I'm going to have for internal people, I'm going to do a 30-day challenge, nutrition challenge, and it's $50 for everybody. Okay, cool. And on the third week of the month, I'm going to do an open house, and it's going to culminate with coffee and fruit and protein bars on Saturday. And everybody can bring a friend all week to any session. Okay, cool. All of our bases are covered. All right, go to the next month. What are we doing in the next month to make sure we're driving external, internal, referral-based drivers? I like keeping it super simple. A theme, what am I doing to get eyeballs? What am I doing to improve experience for members? What am I doing to instigate success and instigate the conversation at the dinner table to get referrals? Chris, another thing for you, because you are a new business, every client should be getting gifted, right? I have this blender bottle on the desk that you can see here. Clients should get something that's an icon, a pen, a shirt. They could get a referral card when they sign up. Like that could be your driver for an entire month. Hey, I'm going to gift every single member with a card, and they're going to get a referral card. They're going to get an icon gift, and I'm going to host a referral drive at the end of the month. Dude, like for a new gym, like that's a full month marketing campaign. It does not have to be fancy. And also, when you set a date, like I know I'm riffing here, but next week is our Christmas holiday party on Friday night. I'm inviting people that aren't members, that have been members in the past, people that have worked here in the past. local business owners that we do business with. Like, why wouldn't I do that? Right? Why wouldn't I do that? So that's part of our internal and referral marketing because we're spending a shitload of money to have a great time. And I want to see these people here. I want them to enjoy our business and our space. And it's what a fantastic opportunity to continue the conversation and get people talking about Varsity House over the weekend, over the holidays, and go, wow, that was a really cool thing that they did. Can I put a price tag on how much or the ROI on it? Not really, but I know it doesn't hurt business. So I hope that answers your question there. All right. Okay. The last question, because this is very pertinent to time of year. I know I talked about total reset. I go, Phil Marsden, he owns a gym um, right outside of Manchester in let me see. I'm going to butcher the name. So it's right outside of Manchester in the UK. We're going back to London, the UK. I know that's the north of London, Phil, but we're going back March 7th and 8th, and I'm looking forward to seeing Phil and a lot of our friends over the pond there. But we went back and forth about his marketing. And one of his sticking points in the questions he's asked, he's like, a challenge is just it doesn't really jive with my training principles. And obviously, there was plenty of questions beyond that. I'm not going to read the whole text via DM, but I know Phil's not alone with this. And if you've been following us even for like a month, at Varsity House, we've done 30 challenges. We got the idea from Pat Rigsby, or no, sorry, Seven Figure Sam, and then Pat Rigsby. And, you know, it's not broken. So we keep running it and we keep making it better. And I understand like the sweat, the sweat boot camp workouts, the booty pumps, the low cal diets, like the chop shops, bait and switch marketing offers. Like, I get it. That's not how we run our challenges at Varsity House. Not at all. Never has been. And the psychology, you have to understand the psychology of most end users. I was speaking to a woman that started her first day today. She's driven past the facility for like a year. She goes to a chiropractor right down the road. And I said, hey, she looked like, she'd been working out and I could tell like she was nervous. I was like, hey, like, you nervous coming first day? She's like, yeah, I've driven past this place. Like, it's really hard to come in. Like, just nervous. Like, I don't want to see like, a lot of athletes and stuff. Like, where are the parents? She's like, where are the old people? And they're all on the floor, right? It's nobody's here in the morning that's like lower than age like 30 years old. And it just the point is like she was scared to come in. She was scared to get started. She was scared to commit to something that she didn't really understand what it was. And understanding that for the end user and getting into the psychology and the fear of the end user, in our transformation challenges, we talk about, hey, give this 6 weeks. Like, it starts and it stops. You're going to have an accountability coach, which they do to walk you through every step of the way. Everybody's a winner if you can finish something that you started. It's the same reason like people get worried to run 5Ks and use it as a big deal. We want the people to feel a sense of accomplishment. We want people to feel like, oh wow, I'm part of something, right? We want our coaches to get excited about the training camp type of experience. And I look at the same way that I looked at it as an athlete. I was training year round, but there was an intensification phase that happened right around May of every single year where it was like, all right, it's time to fucking go. It's time to go. May, June, July, take a couple days off, and then training camp was locked in for the season, all of August to get ready for the games in September. But we were training year round, including the season. So why should it be any different for your clients? There has to be an intensification phase. Most people can't hang on to anything long term. So even for the clients that have been here a really long time, we have people that have done over 20 challenges. And they'll strength train 2-3 times a week, but a challenge comes around and they're adding 3,000 steps a day. They're following a meal plan. They're adding a strength training session. They're pushing some of the performance metrics and trying to hit some PRs on things that they've done in the past. And they're competing with themselves. And each challenge that goes by, they get a little bit better. They might get 5% better. They might fall off a couple percentage points over the holiday, but then they get that shot in the arm that's the challenge in the spring. So, for us with our challenges, we're not changing the way that we train people. Not at all. There might It's just a slight intensification. It's a meal plan. It's a little bit more accountability. And we're dispelling some of the fears that, like, hey, this is going to take you forever. We're trying to build habits, right? That's what it is. We're trying to build habits, and that's what you could call it. It's a habit challenge. You could put whatever verbiage you want on it to package it up and put a different bow on it. But at the end of the day, everybody needs training camp. And Phil, for you, you've run a challenge in the past and it worked. Do it again, right? Do it again. Have something on the calendar that excites people. At the end of the day, people that come and train at your gym, not speaking specifically about Phil, but you got to put things on the calendar that make it exciting and jazz it up a little bit and puts a different bow on it, puts a different spin on it. That could be, a hell week with your training. Orange Theory does a fantastic job of this, whether people like Orange Theory or not. I mean, I think they're a great brand that rewards, great efforts, highlights personal records, gamifies the training, creates Hell Week type experiences, and it gets people talking outside the gym. Who's ever heard somebody who goes to Orange Theory talking about their, burns or splat points, whatever? It's like freaking Nickelodeon. But you know what? It's fun, and people want some fun with their training. So, answered, I think, 4 questions there. There was more than four, and I really appreciate the people that ask. If we want to keep this going, don't hesitate to reach out. Dan at varsityhousegym.com. You can shoot me an email. You can shoot us a DM at the Business of Strength Instagram. Oh, timer, keep me on track. I got to actually head down. I'm going to Kane University to do an in-service for my buddy Angelo Gingerelli today in his class, which is kind of ironic. I wasn't the best college student, but now going back and speaking to the students about creating better careers in strength. So appreciate you listening today. And as always, please share this episode with your friends, give it a 5-star review, and help us out here. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.